Welcome to Swing Batter. Today we are going to have a trial and I'm the judge. I have to decide which is a worst contract. Our nominees are Yoenis Céspedes and Justin Upton. Brendan, which contract are you going to argue is the worst?
Thank you. I'm going to take Justin Upton, Dad.
Okay. And Todd, you will take Yoenis Céspedes, correct?
Game hat on.
He's getting ready. He's getting ready for the jury and the judge, which looking forward to your conclusion here, Dad. I think you're going to choose wisely.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start off with you, Brendan. What say you?
Well, let's just start with one word, the Angels. And for anybody who watches this sports, the Angels and the GM, Billy, known as signing the worst contracts ever, is all you really need to hear. The Angels are a tried and true expression of, I have an idea. Have you ever met the guy at the bar that has an idea and you're drinking late at night and he comes in all excited with an idea and he tells you how it's going to be really great and wonderful and everything's going to work out the best ever? This is like that, only imagine him bringing in his wife and telling you his idea is he wants to marry her again. Only his wife has passed away. That, my friends, is what happened.
Corpse?
Yes, that is what is happening with Justin Upton.
Come on.
This Justin Upton had already been signed. He had a 6-year deal. That was it. No one had to touch him. But the Angels got him, and then they extended him for no reason at all. And the Angels did it because Justin liked his beach house, and Mike Trout liked him. Everybody liked him. He was a great locker room guy from what I've heard. Wink, wink. Justin Upton and the Angels fit together like a guy bringing a corpse into a bar. Thank you, Todd, for clarifying his dead wife and saying I'm going to remarry her. Billy, you're the best. I want to thank you for signing another terrible contract. This one was the pits. Upton did nothing. No playoffs. They paid him to go away. Normal, buy high contract from swing batter Justin Upton by far is way worse because he got a beach house. I don't have a beach house. He has a beach house, and he didn't play baseball. He just laid out on the beach with Billy, sipping Mai Tais all the time.
Well, that's a pretty bad deal for the Angels. Todd, what do you have to say about Yoenis Céspedes?
I want you to think about the real victims of the Céspedes contract. The victims are not the Mets. Victims are not Céspedes. The victims are us, the fans. Do you understand how close we were in 2015? We had Matt Harvey. We had Syndergaard. We had DeGrom. We were close. Céspedes got us so close. It was so close. We could taste it. We finally were going to do something good in this godforsaken hellhole that we call Queens. We were going to actually bring a World Series ring in. And of course you're signing Céspedes. Of course, this guy was the best thing. We had an outfielder locked up for the next 25 years. They could have rolled that guy out on a gurney, and speaking of corpses, it would have been fine with us because he did so great. The only guy we were in love with more was Daniel Murphy because he was hitting the home runs in the postseason. But you have that string of all we did was we went into 2016. We said this was it. This had to be it. 4 years, $110 million, done. Sign that check. Do it. Mortgage the house. Sell the Pepsi porch. Do it. Sell it all. The repo lots in the outfield, sell them. Mortgage them off. Do it. And then what happens? A lot like Brendan on this podcast, screaming into the abyss, we get a wild boar screaming towards Céspedes on his ranch, and somehow he fractures an ankle after some 2 mysterious heel surgeries. The guy just disappears. He disappears. And what are we left with after this whole thing as fans? What are we left with? We're left with the Braves. The Braves and the Phillies with these perfect teams that they steal our pitchers. They steal our players. We're left with the best player in baseball's younger brother somewhere in the minor leagues. Why? It all started the moment a wild boar broke Céspedes' ankles and broke our dreams and took that contract and shattered it into a million pieces, just like the ankle. This is the pillow I cry into every night, my Céspedes tears. Tears of a wild boar. You want to talk about disappointment? Take your beach house. I don't care. A ranch and a wild boar. That's what happened with this thing.
I have a question for Mr. Met personality over there crying. Didn't Daniel Murphy of the Mets of that World Series end up signing with the Nationals to then proceed to win a championship with the Nationals?
No comment.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Listen, in court you can plead the fifth, but I'm just going to say I don't recall.
That's a fair comment. I'm just saying
I do
that
not
when you
recall that transaction.
When you sign, you may have been signing the wrong dude, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, Murphy did well. It was a wild boar, man.
So, Brendan, remind me of why Justin Upton tore up the Angels.
Why did he tear up the Angels?
Yeah.
Well, Justin Upton was known for not being a locker room guy. And, the Angels were onto something. They had Pujols, they had Trout, and they brought in Upton as that outfielder that could really bring the core together. He sat in the corner. He didn't talk to anybody. He wasn't interested. Didn't want to go to the playoffs. They signed him, and then they upped him, as they do with all Uptons, if you get my drift. And then he never did anything. The Angels are notorious for trying to do things with big splash hits. They probably should have traded for Céspedes. The Angels should have traded for Céspedes and given the Mets, I don't know, an all-star pitcher. That would have been normal for the Angels. Justin Upton is way worse than Céspedes because he did play. He had a terrible attitude. He had a terrible performance. And then they did pay him to go away. Céspedes, I believe, was hurt. Upton hurt your heart.
How many years was Upton on the Angels before they peddled him?
Before they got rid of him?
Yeah.
Well, they signed him in 2017 after seeing him for a year. And then in 2022, they said, it's been real.
Okay.
So they paid him to walk away.
They had him for what, 4 years?
They had him for 5 years. When they extended him, 5 or 6, I think. Details. They had him for the COVID year. The COVID year, for the record, I thought was the Angels' year because that was the best chance they had to go to the World Series. A shortened season, all these players. You had Albert. You didn't have to worry about Albert getting hurt. Justin didn't have to get hurt. And they started off so fat. They started off so great. They were number one in their division for like a whole 3 weeks. And they finished like third, like normal, out of the playoffs. I was like, man, even in COVID, you can't win this thing.
Well, I'm ready to make my decision.
Wait a second.
Oh, Todd, you need to say some more? You had me get my Kleenex out with your first duck.
If you're going to make a decision on this thing, that you need to keep in mind, 2015, we did so good. We beat the Dodgers in the championship series. Dad, we beat the Dodgers, Dad.
This is like bribing the judge.
We beat Chase Utley. Chase Utley tried to cripple us. Literally on a double play, tried to cripple a human being. This is Terry Collins getting into it with the umpire. Like, this is the whole thing. I have a therapy pillow.
And therapy pills. Just if we're going to go to your heart, Dad, I will tell you the Angels are a reminder that LA doesn't win all the time. I know the Dodgers win a lot, but the Angels remind you that they do end up with the short end of the stick. Sadly, it's not the Dodgers, but the Angels do remind you that they can do it wrong in LA.
I'm ready for a decision. First of all, these are two horrible contracts. The teams gave out tons of money. I mean, if you consider $100 million a significant amount of money to get squat back, these are just terrible contracts. My final conclusion is this. 1.5 years of Céspedes before the contract is better than 5 years with Justin Upton. So I think the worst contract has to be Justin Upton because he didn't contribute anything. Céspedes actually gave the Mets a lot before he signed, but Justin Upton produced the least. Even with Céspedes not playing, I'm ruling that Justin Upton playing is worse than Céspedes on his ranch.
So I'm left with my therapy pillow and Polish alcohol. That's all I'm left with now because I can't even win this debate.
Well, the good news is that we always like to check Dad's sanity. So if you disagree, please comment. Tell us who you thought was better, who was worse, who had a good argument, who didn't. Thank you for tuning in to our Versus episode, or as Dad put it, the trial on Swing Batter. Todd, great argument. I will forever remember the Mets team that made the run to the World Series. It was a joy until the Royals bit them in their behind. Dad, another great ruling. It's always good to win with an Upton. I look forward to having BJ Upton on our episode soon. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Todd, you're the best. Thanks, Dad.